So for us, we understand relocation really as a measure of last resort. It is not, the program that we run is not about like just having fellowship somewhere else, but it is for human rights defenders who are at risk and that really cannot find any other solution but leaving their country. For this reason, because relocation sometimes is necessary, there have been several programs, formal and informal ad hoc programs that have been established, especially in Europe and in North America, to relocate human rights defenders who are at risk. And at African Defenders, we looked at these programs and we tried to learn as many lessons as possible from them, to then establish what we call the Ubuntu Hub Cities Initiative, which aims to relocate human rights defenders at risk within the African continent. So what have we learned from this program? First of all, that relocating African human rights defenders to Europe or to the US or to Australia or to Canada is very expensive. So in terms of funding, it's very challenging and it limits the amount of people that can be supported. Then relocation outside the continent can bring several challenges, including cultural displacement, language barriers, and we have found that when people are busy with integrating in a society that is completely different from their own, they're more easily will give up their human rights activism. So we found that it is easier when you're closer to home to also continue your human rights work. We then had some research done by different defenders, which came out as a report called Exile in Limbo, where we really highlighted the gaps of emergency support when it came to relocation. So human rights defenders would be helped to leave their country to emergency evacuation. Maybe they would get a grant for 3 or 6 months to settle in a new country, but then they would often find themselves in limbo, with really like not connected to the place where they had relocated and not much to do, with all the challenges that bring also at the psychosocial level. We've also learned that city-based relocation has a lot of benefits. City-based relocation means that defenders are relocated to specific cities, and I think Zaitouni will explain a lot more about that, but when we relocate defenders to a city, we then have the possibility of having a whole sort of services that are in the city and that are there ready to welcome the defender and to help them through immigration and through the whole process of relocation. This is why we established the Ubuntu Hub Cities Initiative, which really is based on the idea that safety can be found on the African continent for African human rights defenders. You don't need to leave, you can also stay on the continent and be safe. And not only safe, but continue your work. So our model, as I said, is based on the idea that it's more cost effective. It aims to tackle the issue of cultural displacement and really to help human rights defenders who are forced to relocate to not give up their human rights work, but to continue. And so it's all about, for us, it's all about flexibility and like a holistic approach. So flexibility because we help defenders on a case-by-case basis. So it can be, we can even do internal relocation. It can be relocation for a few months for rest and respite, or when it is necessary, it can go to the medium and to the long term. And then it's an holistic approach because when we relocate someone, we really try to take care of all the aspects that come with adapting to a new place. And when the cycle can close and situation changes and the defender wants to go back home and it's safe for them to go back home, then we can also facilitate return. So with this in mind, we have established this initiative, which was officially launched at the beginning of this year. Actually, African Defenders has been relocating human rights defenders for a much longer time, but at the beginning of this year, we really officially launched it, and in a, I would say, more structural manner, and we really called it Ubuntu Hub Cities. So at the moment, we have 6 hub cities in Africa. We have Kampala, which is where we're based, and which was also chosen because because Uganda is one of the countries that has the most generous refugee policy, which doesn't mean that human rights defenders who relocate necessarily claim refugee status, but sometimes they have to, so that is an advantage. We have Tunis for North Africa, so for North African HRDs and also for Arabic-speaking human rights defenders. And Tunis was chosen because Tunisia is one of the few countries in North Africa that's actually been going through a democratic transition and that has a very flourishing civil society. We have Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire for Francophone HRDs. Abidjan has been chosen because Cote d'Ivoire was the first country in Africa to pass a law specific for the protection of human rights defenders. And then we have Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Cape Town in South Africa. Again, English-speaking, and these cities were chosen because they have very strong and reputable academic institutions that also have a very long history of civic engagement, starting from the anti-apartheid movement. And these are not fixed in the sense that we're also looking at expanding, and there are discussions on, for example, including a Lusophone city, so for people who speak Portuguese, and perhaps why not Addis Ababa, given that things are opening and that it is the Pan-African capital of the continent. So who do we support? As I said, human rights defenders can be sometimes a bit of a jargony word, but really means anyone who acts to promote and protect human rights. So that doesn't mean that you need to be affiliated with a human rights organization. You can be a journalist, a blogger, an artist, an opinion leader, a scholar, as long as you're active for the promotion of human rights. And as a kind of requirement, our program is tailored to human rights defenders who are at risk and who are at risk as a consequence of their work. So, if you are relocated under the Good of City Initiative, what do we offer? We can offer legal aid services, for example, for immigration issues when being admitted to a host country. We try with our local partner to look for placements, for internships, fellowships, which can be in the academic world or in the civil society. We, as much as possible, through our local partners, we facilitate social integration. When it is necessary, we can give psychosocial support, because sometimes people have gone through very, very difficult experiences, and exile or relocation adds a lot of complication to the mental health of a person. We try to follow up as much as possible to ensure that expectations are met and that we can always readapt our intervention to the needs of the HRD. And then when it is possible, we can also help with risk assessment for people to go back to their country when they're ready to do so. How it works is that we receive applications at African Defenders that can be sent directly to us, or sometimes we receive them through our partners. Being a network, we have partners all over the continent. We then have to conduct always verification with our partners, so to make sure that A, you are a human rights defender, B, you're at risk because of your work. And then placement is decided on a case-by-case basis, so we don't have a strict program where you're only relocated for 3 months in specific periods, but whenever the need comes up, we can assess your application. And then applications are decided on the level of risk faced, on the opportunities that exist for integration, of course available funding, that's always the constraint, and also of course the immigration framework of the country where you want to go to. And all these decisions are taken with the defender. Just to give you an idea, from the beginning of the year when we officially launched the initiative, we received 59 requests. We were able to support 32 human rights defenders. 15 we referred to our partners, and then for 5 we were able to support because they didn't fit with our mandate. 6 are currently under review, and 1 was not at risk anymore, so the application was withdrawn. So just to finish, before I give the floor to Zaytouni, like practically, what do you do if you know a human rights defender who's at risk? You can find the application form on our website, africandefenders.org, and then there is a section called Get Help, where you can download the application. For now we have it in French, English, and in Arabic. Or you can contact us directly at hubcities@defenddefenders.org, and then we can send you the application. And something to always keep in mind is that the more information you provide, the easier it is for us to assess the application in a swift manner.
And normally we receive the group of 10 to 14, up to 17 human rights defenders from the Great Lake region. And most of them, they are coming from Congo, DRC, and Burundi, and sometimes Rwanda. So why the shelter city in Dar es Salaam? So the African Human Rights Defenders Network, they decided to establish this network in Dar es Salaam because it is the safety country in the region compared to other region. And also it is the seat for the East African Court, which is located in Arusha, Tanzania. And also it is in the capital city of the East African community, so it's also a bit easier for the coordination and organization, for the coordination of different activities from this East African community. And also, you know that Swahili is the common language in Tanzania, which most of our defenders, they are speaking Swahili, which also make the coordination easier. And also in Tanzania, we have been a peace-building dialogue in the region, and we also have been receiving other refugees from different countries across Africa. So that's why it's have been easy for the African Human Rights Defenders Network to establish the shelter city in Dar es Salaam. So yeah, that's why it has been easy to collaborate with the government because of the number of refugees from different countries and other projects related with the human rights defenders, at-risk human rights defenders. So this year we started a branch in Benin, and it started already August this year. And why it is Benin? Because we received some of the human rights defenders from the Great Lake who are not comfortable to be relocated in Tanzania because of their own region. For example, we have been receiving some of the LGBTQI community, and they are not comfortable with the law of the government in Tanzania and their work. So we decided to open up the new shelter city in Dar es Salaam for the relocation of a specific group of the human rights defenders. So also Benin is one of the countries whereby all Africans can enter the country without any visa. So the coordination will be easy for us to coordinate and also for the human rights defenders to enter the country.
I am Sophie Gassa from Cameroon. I am a digital rights activist. So when you were naming the countries, I didn't hear about Cameroon or Central Africa. So I don't know if you can work with somebody from Cameroon. And then secondly, you talked of internal relocation. I want to understand what it means. Thank you.
In my presentation, I mentioned about the shelter city in Benin. That means we also receive from now the defenders from Benin, from all parts of the West Africa. So what you have to do is just to submit your application form, then our team will get back to you, will get in touch to you. Yeah. But not for the shelter city in Dar es Salaam. For the Dar es Salaam shelter city, we are receiving from the Great Lake, only for the people from the Great Lake region.
For the Ubuntu Hub cities, we're really open to any nationality. It's a Pan-African initiative. Relocation, of course, if you're French-speaking, normally you will be relocated to Abidjan or to Tunis if you're Arabic-speaking to Tunis, if you're English-speaking to Kampala or to South Africa. But that's also not automatic, so it really depends on what the defender wants to make out of his or her own relocation. And in terms of internal relocation, I've mentioned it because, as I said, our 6 hub cities at the moment, it's where we have the bigger structured programs with many local partners. But sometimes a defender may not need to leave his or her own country. Actually, internal relocation can be quite effective when the risk is not extremely high and when the person is not very high profile. So just by moving to another city within the same country, they can be safe and take a break from maybe their community or maybe the local politician that they have exposed. So that's when internal relocation actually can be relevant. And of course it's more cost effective and doesn't have all the issues of integrating in a new country. Something else for internal relocation is that when a defender relocates outside their country, sometimes we can give family support because often human rights defenders can be the breadwinners of their family, and so by them relocating and giving up their job, there are consequences for the family members. And so sometimes when the family is also threatened because of the work of the defender, we then try to really limit relocating a whole family outside their country, but then we can relocate internally the family of the defender.